Hi again everybody, welcome to my latest video. Well, in this one I'm going to open up one of my 3000 series cards that I hadn't opened up before. Actually, it's not the same one. Let me tell you what happened today. I went to exchange a couple of parts, a motherboard and a CPU at Micro Center that I had bought there a couple of weeks ago. It's for a future build that I'll be doing, and you'll see that. I don't want to give away the secrets at this point. Anyway, when I went and returned it, I went ahead and pre-ordered it online to pick it up within the 18 minutes that Micro Center does. They go and pick it off the shelves. I actually had done that last night, and I went to pick it up this morning. Now, I didn't get out of the house because of appointments that I had on the phone until probably almost 11:30. So by the time I got over there, it was probably about 11:45. And I returned the stuff, put it in my car, and then I said, okay, let me go back in and see what's new. So I went in and went right to the build your own section. And just for the heck of it, I decided to go and see what's in the video card area. And lo and behold, to my surprise, they had 3000 series cards there. They were all 3060 Ti's, and they were only ASUS. They had 3 different flavors of the ASUS. They had the ASUS Dual. They had a bunch of those. There was probably about 15 or so of them at least. That was on the lowest shelf. The second shelf, they had the ASUS Tough line, which has, I believe it had 3 fans to it. Only the Dual has 2 fans and the Tough has 3 fans. And then right at the top shelf, they had one card that was the ASUS ROG STRIX. Now, it just so happens there was a woman there who was with one of her adult sons, probably about 19 years old, but I saw that the other 2 sons, which were older than that, were also there. They were looking at video cards. They were putting together a build, and they needed a video card for it. They were looking through the shelves, and they were asking if 2060 would be a good one for it. I said, well, it's a good card, a little bit expensive compared to the 3000 series line, which I see that there's some of these here. But, you could go for a 1660 Ti. It's a bit cheaper. But the 3000 series cards are here. And I was trying to convince the 19-year-old boy that, he might want to seriously consider getting one of those. And then the mother said, well, as long as we're, need to get a card anyway, we might as well get something that'll last you a while. Long and the short of it, they did buy the Tough version. They called over the salesperson, opened up the glass thing, took out the Tough and handed it to him. And as soon as that became like within 3 feet of my face, I looked up at the Strix, couldn't resist it. So what I did is I bought that. Now, I'm not going to have 2 3060 Ti's. Having one along with my others is more than enough. So what I decided to do is I'd go home, eat some lunch, come back and return the other one that I had, which was the ASUS Dual. I had considered that by the time I got there that all of those 3000 series cards would be out off the shelves. They would be gone. And it did cross my mind that, maybe I could arrange something, but I didn't want to be a scalper. Not even the appearance of one. Not even if it looked like it. Not even if I was just trying to sell it for cost to somebody. Somebody could get the wrong impression. Because obviously I couldn't take a credit card out in front of Micro Center. I'd have to have them provide me with the cash somehow. So I decided to just return it. And I went ahead and just returned that card, got my credit card credit that was needed for that. And then I decided to go back to the cards again to see what they look. Of course, all the 3000 series cards were now gone. There was still the 1660 Ti's over there, but that's about it. This is what I heard when I spoke to somebody later. They were expecting a truck yesterday, the normal Friday truck, which did well for me a week ago. And that truck did not show up yesterday. So I can imagine some people standing out there, and hopefully they let them know sooner rather than later. I hate to think that they would have waited till 9 o'clock before they told them this. It was delayed, stuck somewhere, whatever it was, and did not arrive until this morning. And apparently the store did not even know what time it was going to come. So when it showed up, they were caught by surprise too. Anyway, I just wanted to tell that story. Micro Center continues to surprise me, to be honest with you. Now this one here, took me a while to think it through, but I remember seeing the reviews and it did very well on the reviews. Even a couple of reviews by people who are primarily AMD fans. I'm impartial in between. I'll go with whatever is the best price and the best value for that price. But this one did extremely well, even though its price approaches a 3070. And out of the box, it has some good numbers to it. I'm going to show up on the screen right now a chart that shows all of the ASUS boards for 3060 Ti. Don't get me wrong, I'm not ASUS or an NVIDIA shill, I'm not. But I just wanted to show that to you since of the ones that are on this list, you know, I had actually bought, I don't still have, but I wound up buying 3 of those cards that are on there. So I just wanted to point that out, that this is the specs. And as you can see from this chart, this card is at the top of the line, and it's at the top of the line for the price as well, but hopefully it'll be worth it. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to do what I did with the other cards, which is a comparison on the screen to the Founders Edition equivalent, the 3060 Ti from NVIDIA itself. So let me first go ahead and open this up, and then we'll proceed. Okay, so here's the box, and I'm going to break the seal on this one. Got those round tapes on it. Let me get my handy dandy Swiss Army knife. I was going to call it a screwdriver, but I'm going to stop talking about that joke. The ASUS STRIX. Doesn't have another tape there, that's good. Open this guy up, see what we got here. Wow, what's this here? Oh, that's that ruler I read about, and it marks off the different distances to the different markings. Okay, let's see what we got here. It's a big card. The biggest of the 3000s that I've held in my hand so far, and it's quite weighty. A lot of weight to it as well. What is this here? It's got a little book in here. Let's see, what is this? Oh, it's like an accessory kit. Oh, you get your collector's card. What do we got in here? It looks like a label. Maybe to change some of the looks of the back plate. I'll have to look that up and see where that goes. Big thank you card. That's what's in this little box of goodies here. That's a pretty fancy box in itself that's got really nice padding to it. Okay, like I said, this is a pretty beefy card here. We got the tape. Put it like this for now. Okay, we'll take this guy out. The back side of the card. It's a different configuration than the 3080 in terms of the capacitors there. It's got a big opening here, I heard tell of, to allow the airflow to suck the air in from that end as well. Really beefy cooler on this thing. It's supposed to have RGB built into it. I think there's an RGB strip underneath here somewhere. Yeah, I see I got a tear here I can do. Let me go ahead and do the tear. No sound. Oh well. At least I got a tear. I don't see any others, but I'll have to look more careful. Here in the card thing, there's another tear. Noise mainly because of all the punch-out holes in it. I like that when they put the little protectors for each of the display port and HDMI. I love that. Let's see, what do we have here? This one is bigger than the others. As you can see by the chart that I showed earlier in this video, this one takes 2 8-pin 12-volt PCIe power connectors to it. Oh, it's got the switch for performance mode and what they call Q mode, I guess quiet mode, so the fans will run quieter. So there's a little switch on there. It's got a nice PCIe slot connector on it. It's a really heavy card. It's like 2.9 slots, I believe, is what I saw on the chart. So that's the thickest one of them all. But this must be a nice RGB strip up here. And I understand that you can actually see it on the fans too, even though those are not white fans, so it's not going to reflect them that well, but I understand it does reflect them. Over here, it took me a while to find this, but there's a little designation right here that says fan. And if you look down inside here, you see 2 PWM fan connectors in there. So they're down inside right in there. And what that allows you to do, I had read about this online. I hadn't seen anybody actually use it, so I may try it when I put this into a case. You take 2 of the case fans that are nearest to where this GPU will be installed, and it will control those fans to deal with the heat of the GPU. That's an interesting and neat little feature that I didn't see on the other cards. I will go back and check them, but I had heard specifically that it was a feature of this card. Anyway, I wanted to point that out as well. That's a nice little feature that I probably will use, because the case that I may put this in will more than likely have more fans to it than I can control with the motherboard. And I think that's about it. So that's the box opening of the ASUS ROG STRIX 3060ti card. Okay, let's just move on to a discussion about this now. But let me put up on the screen here the actual NVIDIA 3060ti FE specs one more time. And now I will take a look at the specs for the ROG STRIX 3060ti overclocking 8 gig card that this is for gaming. Now, not all the specs are the same, but the key ones are listed. And what I've done in the next slide is I've highlighted those things that are different, just like I did in my previous video where I talked about the other cards, the 3070 and the card that I returned. dual card and how they compared to the 3060 Ti specs. And as you can see, some of the key ones are, this one is by far the highest clock, as you saw in the chart earlier. Out of the box, it's coming in at 1890 megahertz for boost clock, and the gaming mode, it's 1860 megahertz. That's quite good right out of the box. It does also have a second HDMI port that the original FE model does not have. Software-wise, I highlighted it this time, but it's an extra piece of software that ASUS provides, and it's provided for all their cards, so it's nothing special for this particular card. And then the dimensions, by far the biggest dimensions of all the cards there. But an interesting thing about this is it has two 8-pin, as I pointed out during the box opening, PCI 12-volt connectors, rather than that Y connector thing that would come with the Founders Edition card. And this one is a whopping 2.9 slots, so just about 3 full slots worth of space in your case. Plus, it's very wide, as I showed earlier, 12.5 inches wide. So you have to make sure your case is, able to support that. So it has to be a pretty good size mid-tower. Can't be like a small mid-tower in order for this to fit in well. I think that's about it. I think that covers the key features of this particular card as they compare to the 3060 Ti FE model. And I think it's going to be a pretty interesting thing. Now, I'm not covering any gaming performance comparisons here. I'm not going to run through, 25 games and show you how this did compared to something else. But I will do some performance measurement once I put it into a PC. Or maybe in my next build, I might swap out the 3080 that I'm putting in there and put this in and see how it performs. Maybe using something straightforward, like 3D Mark or something like that, just to show a raw comparison between them. This also has the ability to be overclocked, and it's something I may try, because one thing about this, and the reviews that I saw from many other reviewers, is that it is the coolest running of the 3060 Ti's that are out there. With that massive cooler that's on here, I can believe that. I mean, this cooler does not fool around. It is pretty massive on there. So I'll do some performance tests when I have my next build done, which I'll be starting imminently. I'll stick this one in as well, and we'll compare it to the 3080 that is meant for that build. Hopefully you got something out of this video. I know I didn't turn it on, show you what the RGB looks like, but I will. And if you did, if you got something out of this video that you found useful or interesting, or just something that you found worth watching, at least consider subscribing to my channel. That would be very, very helpful. Well, until the next time, take care.